Hey there, and welcome back to Scrap with Penny, where paper meets story. And today I am working on a blog post for Traci Reed Designs using the fabulous and new Make Merry collection that is just too adorable. I love to focus on the details at Christmas, and so I thought really long and hard about what angle I wanted to take on this, and so I'm going to jump right in and tell you. For me, it's the little details. It's the things that I do consistently that have a story over time that matter to me. And so I've got a picture here of ornaments laying on the dining table waiting to be put on the tree. I've got a picture here of some of my favorite little ornaments. And I'll tell you that this ornament right here was the first Hallmark ornament we purchased. It's a 1985, and it's the very first house in the Hallmark house series. So, and then this right here was the first year we were in a home, and then these little toys remind me of my childhood and of the boys' toys when they were little. And then right here, this is Book Lovers with a little cup of coffee on it. And so these are some of my favorite ornaments, and I took a close-up of the tree. Right up here is the Mr. and Miss Santa Claus series that we love, and you can see some of those are down here in the details. And then the third photo that I elected to represent some details that I love about the season is a stack of handmade cards that I was sending out to some friends on a card exchange. So I've got my 3 pictures printed. These will trim up and be matted on 3x4 mats, and then this is 2.5 squared, and so I've got my mats all cut, and here's my piece of cardstock, and here's my paper. This collection, y'all, I love it. I love it. And I went with the ornaments for sure on this because my story largely features ornaments, and the palette is so good. And I think too that even if your pictures are the brighter colors, it still works. It works so well. I'm basically going to scrap lift myself. It's a layout that I made from a 6x6 class, 6x6 paper pad class from Scrapbook Generation, and we're going to have a horizontal band that's 6 inches tall, and it's going to have 1-inch strips across the top, alternating. Not in this order. This is just the order I pulled them into the document to print from. And then on the bottom, I'm going to do, it's going to be white cardstock, and I may do cardstock on cardstock to get a little rounded edge. Not sure on that. And these papers are the 6x8 papers. And what I love about these is that they're already scaled down for you. So you get all of the pattern on a smaller scale, and it's going to be great. So I'm going to stop recording, and I'm going to go trim my papers up, and we're going to get going on this. I think it's going to be fun. Okay, so I'll be back in just a minute. So just real quick, I've got the papers trimmed up and separated, and I think that this is the order I'll tape them down in, and I'm just alternating patterns with white and, you know, tone on tone patterns and small print patterns. So I put this mint in between these 2 pinks and this white in between the red and the pink, and I think this is a great pattern to the paper, and then it'll just repeat. So I'll copy the same order and go to the edge of the page, and then on certain pieces of paper I'll cut a little stripe and lay that on top. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trim these up and start taping down, and I'll be back in a second. So this is what the paper looks like, trimmed up and the pattern repeated, and I think it's really cute. I went ahead and trimmed the stripe, and I've got it laid down. And I'm going to share for you a hack when I do strip work like this. I cut a piece of paper that's scrap, and I'm going to tape all of these onto this piece of paper, and then I'm going to trim the top and trim the bottom, and then I've got one big pattern that will be uniform and exact in height that I'll tape onto the top. So I'll show you as I go along, but I just wanted you to know that this is a trick I developed several years ago working with all of the strip sketches that Scrapbook Generation puts out, and it's a good trick, I think, because you just don't have to worry about getting your cuts even. And when I was cutting these, I did use a piece of low tack mint tape on my trimmer, and I bumped up against it, so I'm hopeful that they're all 1 inch wide. I'll know in a minute. So I'm halfway through, and this piece of paper is a little over 7 inches tall, and you can see on the back the placement of the paper staggered. So I'm just laying it down and just bumping my next paper up against this, and you don't have to worry about the top and bottom. And I've got bits of ATG here and here to help adhere the top and bottom, and so I'll just keep going along, repeat it, and then I'll trim then I'll put my stripes on, and then I'll trim the top and bottom. So here is the top cut. It's uniform. Here's the offcuts. And the next thing I did was tape down my stripes. So I trimmed this so I've got a straight edge to go up against for alignment. And I don't think they're perfect. I'll do one more short trim here, and then I'll come down to the bottom and cut it off at 6. That's so cute. So here it is all trimmed up. I'll tape it down. I'm okay with it being an added layer of cardstock under there because I think the benefit you get is so good. And here's the other set of offcuts. So it's just a little trick I developed myself. When you're working with a lot of these strips, you know, I'm always trying to get them lined up and driving myself crazy. So then it becomes a matter of how can I prevent the insanity? So I'll tape this down, and now I need to decide about this. It's time to trim my photos, and it's probably also time to go ahead and trim my journaling. So I did go get a second piece of Bazzill, and I'm doing it on the cross grain. So on this back piece of paper, the grain is going north to south, and on this bottom piece it's going east to west. And so now I can just take my top and tape it down, and you'll see the bones of the page. And I'm happy to report that I did end up with consistent 1 inch wide strips, and I didn't have any problem when I got down to the end. I can't tell you how many times before I have. So then now it's time to get going on the photos. So I have my photos trimmed, and I'm going to tell you that when I laid this one down, it just didn't look like it added much to the story. And then when I started working on the journaling, it also seemed to be incongruent to what I was trying to say. So I scrapped it. I'm not going to use that. That'll be another story for another day. And I think it's okay when you're working. I said at the beginning I wouldn't know where I was going because I think so many of the decisions are organic. But I love this trio of photos. And let me read you the journaling. December lives in the details, treasured ornaments that hold our stories, the familiar colors and textures of our tree, and the sweet way Sophie curls up beneath it, making this season feel like home. And then I just did 24 because the pictures are taken over a span of several days. But I'm going to tell you a little detail, a little tiny detail, since we're talking about season details. Right here is an ornament that's a gazebo, and it's dated 1986. And I gave that ornament to Steve the year that we were engaged. We weren't married. And then here's the truck. And then these are the little Murray metal cars. I think that's a train there. Here's another house. This was, I think, an ornament they did for either the 20th or the 25th anniversary of the ornaments. Hallmark doing keepsake ornaments. So this is Toy Maker Santa. So we know the stories of our ornaments, and I don't know what you have for ornaments, but I would encourage you to highlight some, to get out your phone and do a close-up photo. Take pictures of putting the ornaments up. If you didn't get it before you put them up, guess what? The table looks like this again when we take them off the tree in January. So try and commit to capturing some of the details. And I'm ready to tape down these photos now. And I think my journal strips are going to go up here, and I need to work on a title. So I'm just going step by step, making sure that the page comes together and it's just as special as the story that it's telling. So I ran my journal strips through the die cutting machine, and I share almost in every video, because I use this method so much, that Nicole at Coley Bean created a Google Doc, and you can copy it to your drive and then you type on it. She types with Century Gothic, I type with Courier Prime, and then you use the Hero Art sentiment strip die to lay down, and you get these crisp, straight, perfect strips. And I'll trim the ends off and pop them up on foam. I link to her tutorial in every video description where I use these. So I'm back, and I've been a busy little beaver. I went to the individual elements on the sticker sheet, and so Traci has 3 sticker sheets that are configured for you, and you can easily print them, or you've got a file with all of the elements. And so what I did is I took a screenshot, I took a picture of this page, brought it into Silhouette, and then I planned my embellishments around my paper that was already here in the pictures. And I'll do an inset right up top right now while I'm talking about it. On this right here, this is part of the individual elements, and I think I sized it to be the exact size I wanted. And on this A Season Of, what I did was I created a 5x7 word processor document, brought in this aqua paper, and printed just enough of it for the letters, and then I cut it 3 more times so that I could stack them. So there's a little bit of a stack there. And when I go to tape things down, when I go to adhere them, I'll probably tighten everything up. It's just so fiddly to place things when when nothing is attached. And so I printed little bows to put at the top of these ornaments, and I'll cut the string off so that it looks like they're hanging from a bow. I thought that was kind of the way I could handle them being mid-page. And there are 2 kinds of ornaments. I picked these 3 ornaments. I just love them. I love them, love them. And I've got my little flowers. I've got a candy cane here. This is kind of where we stand, and pictures aren't even taped down, so I'm ready to tape down my pictures. Then I'll stitch. I'm going to stitch here and along this border up here, just a straight horizontal running stitch, and then I'll get everything taped down, and I think it'll be done. I love it. I love this collection. This is my 3rd project with it, and it is still fresh and fun, and I've used different elements on every layout, brought in different papers each time. I have worked with this paper and this paper and this paper before, and just a little bitty bit of this, so it didn't really even count. But this is my first time to work with the bows and the ornaments. It's all so very cute. So this would be a great sketch for you to use if you don't have a full-size printer, because these are 6 inches long, and you could totally use letter size paper to get your paper and your elements printed. The other thing I wanted to show you is that this sketch works great, every direction. Obviously your things would shift around, but you can see how it's so versatile, and that's one of the reasons why I love it. So it's looking very good, and I'm ready to finish this up. So let me pause the recording, and I'll be back in a minute. So I have finished it, except I'm going to add some of these Pinkfresh clear drops. So I just kind of wanted to show you a close-up of what it looks like without them, because I'm going to pause the video now and put them on, and then you're going to get to see the pop. So I love the layout, but let me finish it up, and then I'll be back. And so here's the close-up. I just wanted you to really be able to see the sparkle. It's hard, I think, for it to show up in the video. Okay, so those are the Pinkfresh clear drops ice that I added. And I've shared before that on hybrid projects, you know, you don't get those decorative brads that you do with traditional collections. And so I love using those little Pinkfresh gems to bring some bling and some shiny sparkle to the layout. So I've got my honey script title. I did a slight offset to thicken up this font. This is very similar to the font that Traci uses in the collection. This is from the stickers. I added a little gem in the middle of the O. I've got my 3 ornaments, and then for the bows, I just paired it with what I thought would work for where it's sitting. So I thought this would look best here, and I thought this would look good here, and this would look good up here. So you could have put any bow on any ornament and they all would have worked. I did bring some little holly berries into the mix. Those are fun. And I thought about adding a little drop up there, but decided it wasn't really necessary. And I've got my journal cluster, my title cluster, and then I've got 3 little decorative clusters. And so it's more than a visual triangle. Each little area is an extension, I guess, of the total design. So I started out with the 3 ornaments and then built up from that. And so that's it. I want to challenge you to document some seasonal details in your home. What is a tradition that you do over and over, or what is a collection that you build on? Maybe you have those Department 56 houses. And I would just say take some different photos, maybe take some close-ups, maybe take some of the mess or the decorating of the item, you know, the setting it out, because it's a lot of work to get Christmas set up, you know. And so I would just say document the details. That's what I'll say. I hope that this inspired you and maybe gave you some ideas for some pictures you could take in your house. I hope you have loved the projects with this Make Merry. This is the 3rd and final video that I'll have, I think, for the Make Merry collection, and I have thoroughly enjoyed each and every project. I hope that you're getting ready for Christmas and that you got to play with some paper while I was playing with paper here. If you're one of my subscribers, a big heartfelt thanks for your being a part of the community. And if you're new here and or you haven't yet subscribed, I would invite you to hit that subscribe button because we've got some fun holiday content coming up. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me. So just a little bonus content here at the end. This is the layout I just finished. And then this is the double that posted earlier on the YouTube hop. And then this is the single for New Year's that posted on the Instagram hop. And so you can see here, these papers just all are so pretty and so versatile. And I love that, like I said, this collection can take you from Black Friday online shopping to New Year's Day because the versatility and all. So I just thought you'd enjoy seeing them all together. So much fun. And I hope that you grab this collection and have some fun with it yourself. I'll have a link to these 2 process videos in this video description. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. I'll be back soon with more layouts, videos, and a little stash busted magic. So please come back and crop with me. Until next time, happy scrapping, and remember, this is where paper meets story. Bye-bye.